You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, let's talk about a potential return of Caitlin Clark. Maybe not a return of Caitlin Clark. We've got a WNBA legend, an all-time legend, that decided to put her 2 cents in. I know a lot of you feel exactly the way she does. I see it every day, all day long on social media. The idea of, is it worth it to bring Caitlin Clark back? Should she come back? Should she come back and play for Stephanie White? There's a lot of people bringing that up too. Is a lot of this got to do with play style and not just injury? I've wondered that myself. Okay? But as we know right now, the Fever sitting in playoff position. All right? After last night's victory, it should be noted over a old as hell Seattle Storm team. Let me just keep it real. But look, nonetheless, Seattle Storm would technically be in the playoffs right now. The Fever are now sitting alone in the 6th position. All right? They would probably draw, I believe, the Aces, who have been on a damn tear. The Aces are 10-0 in their last 10 games, folks. Damn. By the way, in case you're wondering, the Fever 4-6. And I still cannot understand why our win-loss record is so bad at home. I don't understand. 11-9. The Lynx are 18-1. New York Liberty 15-5. I just don't get it. I really don't. With the kind of crowds that show up to those games, it's wild. So we got a lot. Last night during the broadcast, they brought this up. Stephanie White made these comments.
15-7 lead. Caitlin Clark, who did start taking part in portions of shoot-around, non-contact portions of practice. She has yet to take part in a full practice. And Stephanie White reiterating today she will need to do numerous of those. Ideally, even 5 of those before she can play. But a couple steps in the right direction the past few days.
I mean, it's great.
All right. So you heard that. She'll need to do ideally at least 5 of those before she can play. Talking about non-contact portions of practice, she is yet to have a full practice. Scott Agnes. All right. I guess he's the one that asked this question. I don't know. Probably the one that's got access, I'm sure. Talking about Caitlin Clark coming back, Stephanie White.
Caitlin able to go through your little walkthrough or whatever you normally do, and what do you want to see ultimately to get comfort whenever the time comes?
Yeah, she went through our walkthrough yesterday. Today it was very short, prior to game time, but she went through it yesterday, and I want to see her in practice, live in practice. Want to see her continue to work to not just build endurance, but to be able to handle contact 94 feet as it's going to be in game, and to be able to do that and sustain from an endurance standpoint, and that's going to take multiple practices to make sure that there's no regression. And as most of us know, when we get fatigued, we look different, and see how she plays through fatigue.
Sorry to follow up that. Do you have enough practices left for that opportunity, especially this late in the season? They get changed depending on your schedule, things like that.
Not necessarily probably team practices, but being able to put together, 3s, 4s, and different things that we can go against and match up.
All right, that's enough of that. So, still talking like there's a chance she'd come back. I don't know if this is going to happen. I know I heard Stephanie White talking up last night's logo situation, right? It's special. There's very few people who get the opportunity to say they have a logo. It was one of the nicer things she said about Caitlin Clark. Now, enter in legend Lisa Leslie, because she is talking about Caitlin Clark shutting it down. Shutting it down. By the way, Fever 11-13 without Caitlin Clark. Yikes. They're not, if they do sneak into the playoffs, they're not doing anything without Caitlin.
Perhaps could be nearing a return to help the playoff push, and she could provide quite a boost, Lisa.
She could provide an amazing boost, but again, I'm just going to put my coach's hat on, my GM hat on, you want to see Caitlin Clark for the longevity of her career. I'm just thinking, me personally, I would not put Caitlin Clark back on the floor this season. And the only reason why I say that is because I had the injury that she had. That deep groin injury is nothing to play around with. It can feel like you've never had it. You make one move, one cut, boom, she's back in the same spot. I don't know that it's worth risking it. If they get the 8th spot and you get into the playoffs, is it really worth looking at Minnesota round 1? I don't know. That's just my opinion. What you think?
Man, I mean,
Okay, so you heard her right there. I would shut her down for the season. I've talked about it on this channel. I've done a lot of powerlifting in my life, sumo style deadlift. All right, that's a wide stance, and there's a lot of groin potentially involved in that pull of the weight up, that heavy weight. I have pulled my groin more than a few times. I've pulled it on heavy leg press. It's a bitch. It's a nagging ass injury, and it keeps popping up on you. And you're like, oh, I've got it solved. And then 4 months later, boom, it's back like it never went away. Every time you think it's gone, it's back, and it's nagging you. And I wasn't trying to run up and down a basketball court. So there is a long-term, because you don't want her to rip that groin off the, if that thing rips real bad, it turns into, she could be gone for a season. Like, just gone. If that was to happen in the playoffs, she might miss all of next year. That could happen, in theory. That could happen. Now, look, there's a lot of headway they've made on medicine, but then again, we're talking about the WNBA here and not the NFL, although the one saving grace is Caitlin Clark makes so much money, she would obviously get medical care away from the team if she had to, I'm sure, because hell, I would. I'm just being honest. As many injuries as there's been, boy, strength, conditioning, whatever, it all needs to be called into question. Like right now, not sooner than later. I'm very interested. One of the reasons I wanted to do this video was to get a gauge. Do you agree with Lisa Leslie? Shut it down. Do you think she's coming back? Do you think she wants to come back and play for Stephanie White? I still will stick by the fact that I believe there is a chance that Stephanie White ultimately resigns as the coach. Because, look, she would get hired as a WNBA coach by a different team. All right? I just don't know that her coaching style fits the players she's currently got on this team. Most notably, Caitlin Clark. But that's another topic for another day. Caitlin may be thinking, if there's a chance I'm going to get hurt, do I want to go out there and do it under these circumstances, yada, yada, yada? Do we have a chance to win the championship? That's the question that has to be asked. Do you have a chance to win it all if you come back? I guess if you get hot, but this is not a deep team anymore. If Sophie was still healthy and Chloe Bibby was healthy and Ari McDonald was still, and you had some depth, I'd be like, yeah, go for it. Now, it's a harder question and a call to make, I think. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.